Welcome to the We Founders podcast. We are women entrepreneurs, founders, and investors sharing our stories about how we raise funds, invest, and build our businesses from the Western Balkans. I'm your host, Gaia Montelatici, General Partner at Studio X Ventures. Ulrike, it's a great pleasure to have you at the We Founders podcast today. And I have to say, I was amazed by meeting you by chance at the World Minds dinner the other day. You were actually part of the World Minds 2019 in Zurich, as I understand.
Yeah, that's right. And actually 2019 in Belgrade as well. That was my first time.
Perfect. So it's been 2 years apart, and we met back here at the Impa Hub. You recognized me at the dinner, and here we go. I wanted to take the opportunity for everybody to hear your story because it's an amazing one. You're the co-founder of Reefs, and you're creating 3D clay coral reefs to repopulate the oceans.
Yeah, thank you so much for inviting me so spontaneously. That's really a good chance just because I had this Friday after the World Minds, so let's use it for something good. I'm originally out of academia, so I've spent most of my professional life at university. The last part at ETH Zurich, so the Swiss Federal Institute of Technology, and there I started thinking about why, first of all, we all know coral reefs are dying very quickly, right? And we might actually lose most of them by mid-century, so in the next 30 years. So this was a very urgent topic for me also as a diver. I'm a passionate diver. I love biodiversity and nature. I grew up in one of the largest German forests.
Wow.
That's where it came from. And I started asking, why do approaches to rebuild coral reef structure often not work? We've seen a lot of attempts, and I've never seen actually a healthy coral reef redevelop. So I asked why. And I think that a lot of that is connected with actually how we design these reefs. And they're often not designed by biologists and ecologists that actually know what you need in order to recreate a working, healthy ecosystem.
And I'm sorry. Who are they designed by right now, if not by biologists?
Often architects and designers that more see the aesthetic value of these, and for whom the
Commercial,
awareness
maybe?
raising is the most important part. So actually the interaction with people that see this, find it beautiful, and then maybe start thinking about coral reefs. So there's a great value to that. It's just not the basis for rebuilding an ecosystem. So we are designing these reefs. We're using a modular system with relatively small modules that are 3D printed from clay. They're only about 30 by 15 by 30 centimeters large. And the reason that they're so small is that by having small modules, they work like Lego, so we can place them in all directions. We have an infinite number of combinations, and that just means we can build very complex organic-looking structures that in turn allow a lot of different organisms to find a home in these new structures. So really what we're trying to achieve is a complexity in the structure of the new reef that we are building from the millimeter level to the meter level to accommodate a high diversity of species. Because by doing that, from the time that we build the reef underwater, and we've built our first reef last September in the Colombian Caribbean. From the time that we place them underwater, fish start loving the structure and they start moving in and populating the structure. And this leads to an ecological or ecologically balanced system where, with checks and balances, the animals all depend on each other. And this makes it easier for coral also to regrow. So we're basically doing this to then give nature a way to come back on its own on this new structure.
Fantastic. So you were able to kick off this first prototype in Colombia through a successful crowdfunding campaign, right?
That's right, yes.
How did that go?
The crowdfunding we did in Switzerland on a Swiss platform in December 2020. And we wanted to raise 60,000. I think we raised 70,000. which allowed us really to, for half a year, to go into the 3D printing, the production of the bricks. We shipped them to Colombia. We have fantastic partners in Colombia, Corrales de Paz, with whom we then worked to actually implement the reef, and we also involved some international participants in doing that. And for us, that was really important because it kickstarted a community around this as well.
I think that that's actually one of the biggest benefits, right, of crowdfunding. It's not only the financial resources, but it's actually the reach out and the partnership building, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Like your brand, if you will, is already out there from the very start, and the media also like crowdfunding if it's for a good topic. You know, this, of course, rebuilding and helping coral reefs is something that people cherish. So we can spread hope through that, and in return we get a strong community that's really standing behind the project.
So who do you see as your first partners, right, that you have on board right now? Who are your first partners in this endeavor?
The larger partners actually became a big company, the Zurich Insurance Group, because they had an award out there called the Planet Hero Award, which we won in Germany and was actually connected to 100,000 euros, spread over 3 years. So this is ongoing. But even more importantly than the financial help, there was really the long-term partnership, as you mentioned. So we have now a professional advisory board, and one of the board members of Zurich Group Germany is in our board. She's extremely experienced. And just we can ask them anything, right? And they offer their help and also the help of their employees to work with us on topics that we might be new to in terms of business development. But I cannot talk about our first big customer yet. It's that's still secret, but we might have actually sold a reef, if you will, but we're actually selling biodiversity credits now.
Fantastic.
So as a company, you can, if you want to give back to the ocean because maybe you're connected with the ocean, we can offer a biodiversity credit package, which means that you'll get certified for the biodiversity impact that you generate, which is directly related to a certain volume of reef that we build for you. But we can also involve your employees in the process. It'll be an unforgettable experience for them, and also unify kind of employees around this topic of biodiversity impact. Plus a communication package around that. That's really what we're trying to validate now, how well that works. But we might have a first customer on that, which I'm very happy about.
We are looking forward to hear about it as soon as you...
It's official. Yeah.
As soon as it's official, absolutely. So your prototype is obviously replicable geographically. Can you talk to us a little bit about what is the environment where your solution actually is most efficacious?
Yeah. Obviously, tropical areas is what we're concentrated on. We know coral reefs best, so we know how this ecosystem works. So essentially, everywhere around the equator that has coral reefs, we don't want to build a new reef where there hasn't been a reef before, because it's a way of interfering with nature that, at the moment at least, we don't think is feasible or sensible. So in the Caribbean, then from there towards the Red Sea, Indian Ocean, the Maldives, the Coral Triangle around the Philippines, Indonesia, and then stretching into the French Polynesia around Australia, so far into the Pacific Ocean. All of those areas are also Florida, for example. They used to have a lot of reefs, and now a lot of them are destroyed. The next project that we're talking about will be in the Dominican Republic. It's not 100% set yet, but there is an interest to develop, so there'll be a lot of R&D involved, to develop our system further into also becoming kind of a breakwater structure, so that you can have a hybrid biodiversity enhancing reef, but also an erosion protection. And erosion protection or beach protection is a natural function of reefs as well. So really, we'll be trying to get back as many of the ecosystem services that a reef should have with our reefs as well. For this, we have to develop them to be a little bit bigger and sturdier, more heavy, so they can withstand wave forces better. But this is an exciting direction to go. And right now we're 3D printing with clay, which also isn't the easiest technique. You can't just use any 3D printer. It's quite specific, and handling the clay is a bit tricky. But really now the next step in terms of production is that we want to find a way to train people locally to be able to print these on site. And then they also need to be fired on site. But it's the investment into the printer that's often the problem. It costs about 10,000 per printer.
So, I mean, you have one of the most beautiful jobs in the world because not only are you creating a fantastic, positive impact on the environment and seeing fantastic people and creating, a technology that actually wasn't there before, but you're also visiting the most beautiful places on Earth. So
yes, that was part of the deal. I would love a project in French Polynesia for that part, but no, we have to be also honest to ourselves. We don't want to fly too often. So of course there'll be 1 to 2 months probably in the tropical regions, unless one of us moves to a field site permanently. That could also happen, but we're trying to establish at every site that we build a reef really the long term that the local partners take over all the scientific monitoring, so checking the reefs after it's built and sending us the data so that we don't actually have to go. At some point it's not feasible anymore.
Tell us a little bit about the team behind these
thank
projects.
you for asking. Because I love my team. It's all female, it wasn't on purpose, just happened like that. And also, by the way, a lot of people that write to us for volunteering are also females. So there seems to be a connection somehow. We are 4 women. Right now we are all in Switzerland. The core team that it all started with was myself, my co-founder Marie, who is an artist, which maybe is also a little bit unusual, and a friend of mine that I've known for a long time, Hannah, who's also a marine biologist. And the 3 of us, I met Marie by chance actually at ETH in Zurich, where she had a scholarship at the university as an artist, which I found very special. So she was actually developing this 3D printing technique there because she used to be an underwater sculptress.
Wow.
Doing installations and exhibitions underwater for coral reefs. And this fitted perfectly because she really knew how to look at the overall design, the bigger structures that we needed to build, and I was very focused on the surfaces and the signs of the coral settling. So we brought that together, and Hannah is a scientific diver also, so she's really responsible for all the field efforts that we're doing, making sure that all the diving is done properly, and we can take people, also inexperienced divers, to help and have them share this experience. And then Josephine is more on the policy side. She's done international sustainability and she's worked for the UN before. She'll hopefully join us full-time in August. But yeah, I mean, we have to diversify. We would love more genders, more cultures in our team. Just at the moment, we don't have the finances for that.
Well, it's a great place where you started already, so I'm sure that this is actually going to escalate.
Yes, let's escalate it.
So, one last thing about this is exactly your invitation for others to help, to get involved, to, join, the efforts, maybe the next crowdfunding or...
Actually, we're just thinking about planning another 50,000 crowdfunding in summer, the late summer probably. It will be set in Switzerland, but of course it's available internationally. And there we'll definitely also be giving away volunteering jobs, spots.
Okay.
So you'll be able to come and build the next reef with us, for example. it'll be exciting.
Wow.
We have to think about the whole scope yet, so it's not finalized, but there'll likely be another crowdfunding. But also, other than that, we're always very happy about anybody that writes us for volunteering. We can need help, and we actually have fantastic volunteers on the scientific analysis side that analyze some of our fish data with us, or help us with our social media content or writing of text. So there's really a lot of opportunities to help, and we're always very glad for people that want to help. Right now, we have about 15 volunteers, and it wouldn't be possible without them.
We'd love to actually make your community of supporters even more widespread, more diverse, and spread also through the Western Balkans. I think that, the more young people we get involved, the better.
And it's
for
such
everybody.
an important topic really for everybody, right? Because the health of our oceans is important for all of us, really. And coral reefs are so intricately linked with the health of the whole ocean that really, I think, the more people know about it and are involved, the better. We have an Instagram account that we mostly use to update also about the life that's developing in our reefs. So if you want to join, that'd be great.
Absolutely. So please do share the Instagram account. You can. What is your address on Instagram?
It's at Reef, so RRREEFS.
Perfect.
Reefs with 3 R's.
Perfect. We'll share it.
Great.
We'll write it down, and we'll be most happy to support and help. So keep us posted with all the volunteering opportunities and funding opportunities that you're going to endorse.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for your time, for your story, for your leadership example. I'm just looking forward to hearing more about all of your adventures and successes in the next few months.
Thank you so much for these kind words, and it was really nice to be here. And I hope we'll stay connected with Impact Hub in Serbia, in Belgrade. I really love this experience.
Thank you so much. Talk to you soon.
Thank you for watching We Founders podcast. My name is Alex Pfreundt, and I will be co-host this season. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter.